forces will give the Jedi his power.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
This is where the fun begins.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Star Wars. My name's Christopher.
My name's Patrick.
And I'm Lex.
And Andor finale night tonight.
Big night. Big
night. Yeah.
After
what
last
did you think of, what did you think of last week's episodes?
I want to ask you guys, how many times did you rewatch 8 and 9 last week? Like, I've watched it 4 times each one.
I haven't rewatched them yet.
Oh.
Yeah, just once. I mean, I was pretty heartbroken by Bix leaving. That one I didn't expect, but
that I didn't either. That as soon as I saw her look at him, and then I saw the bed empty, I was like, no. I knew it. I was heartbroken then.
Do you think she'll show up this week?
I don't know. I'd like to say if she does. Do we get to have that character live on and we just haven't seen her in the Rebel Alliance? That would be a great thing.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling she went on a different path and mission, and we might see her. I think Cassian might learn that she's, taking one for the team, for the rebellion. I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely think Luthen has to, right? He's got to be gone. Because otherwise, you see him next to Mon Mothma and all those others when the rebels were finally alive.
Guys. Now, what did you guys think of Benjamin Bratt's performance last week?
Very good. Very good. I didn't mind it. Like, I think it shows that we could sub someone in for like Bail Organa if need be, right? Like, not a bad choice.
Well, and other legacy characters too.
Yeah. I didn't mind. It didn't take me. The story is so good. It had me so enthralled that him, standing in for, Jimmy Smits, I didn't mind. It was so good. I was like, okay, great. That's Bail Organa. I believe it. Moving on. Keep going. I'm so into the story.
He has a similar look, and it still felt like Bail Organa.
Mm-hmm.
To me, anyways.
What about the tension?
Because I know you mentioned last week when we were on that it kind of didn't feel like Bail Organa to you.
I think the first, the second set of episodes, I'm kind of glad that they introduced him then rather than these latest 3, because this one I didn't have as much of an issue with. I think it's because I was already kind of expecting him to be Bail Organa, and it kind of flowed a little bit better for me. I didn't feel as taken out of it. But yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, I definitely liked these latest 3 episodes the most. They were just very emotional. There was a lot going on. I mean, you finally get to see Cassian and Mon Mothma together. The whole situation with Bix. I was like, oh.
And Mon Mothma's speech was incredible.
Emotional.
Epic.
And then you also called it. We got to see how he and K2 kind of come together, and that was a thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed the latest 3. I'm interested to see where it's going to go, with these final 3 episodes tonight and how that kind of will lead into Rogue One. But yeah, I mean, I thought the last 3 episodes were probably the best so far.
Yeah, they are. It's super.
It's cool that we're getting these characters show up from Rogue One. So we got I can't think of his name. The general guy who was telling Cassian, if you leave on the ship, you won't be coming back if you leave on a commission, kind of thing. But also when Val was inspecting all the blasters, that guy, he was in prison with Cassian in season 1, and then he was in Rogue One as well. So so it's nice.
But I thought what was interesting, she knew his blaster was an Imperial blaster.
Yeah,
so it made her go.
It's Cyril's blaster.
Which is crazy how that's all gotten handed down, right? But thinking about Cyril, I thought that hand-to-hand freaking, I'm grasping to anything to get you off me and kill you. Like, that fight between him and Andor awesome. Like I felt like those 2 episodes, if you hadn't felt tension, you felt it snap in every way possible. But I really felt that those scenes were just insane. I felt like I was on the edge of my seat, gasping for breath, much like Caspian. And then that, who are you? Like, oh my God. And then I actually watched today the interviews that they did with with Cassian, Diego Luna, and Tony Gilroy. And I found that to be really interesting because during those interviews, they talked about how it was actually planned to do that scene where he had that little bit of pause because Cyril just was like, he doesn't even know who I am. Like he was just so crestfallen. So it's cool to hear the actor's perspective on that, which I wasn't expecting that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Cyril's performance was a bit very interesting to kind of see him and Deidre and him kind of realize like, oh, like she was using me as a pawn, which I knew like that was going to happen. And then, you know, kind of just to see him interact with Cassian and Cassian be like, I have no idea who you are, but, you know, Cyril's obsessed with him and was like, I can't believe this. And then, you know, he kind of has that tragic, you know, end of, you know, into his life. I was like, wow, you know, that was kind of a roller coaster when it comes to Cyril, you know, but that whole scene between him and Deidre was like, you could cut the tension with a knife. I thought that was pretty crazy. But then I've also seen, I meant to ask you guys about it, there's a lot of pictures circulating with like the Andor cast and stuff like that, but also, I don't know why I can't think of his name right now, but with Poe Dameron.
Because he interviewed them.
Okay, so you don't think he's gonna make like an appearance in these final 3 episodes?
No, I doubt it.
Okay, because I was like, maybe they're
no,
like insinuating something, but
he's be way too young, I think, for this.
Yeah, I think he'd be like a teenager or something, right?
No, because that takes place 30 years after the Battle of Yavin, right? Or more, or longer. 30 years after Return of the Jedi.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. I just saw him in the pictures, and I was like,
he'd be way too young.
He'd be too young, I think, for that. But
he'd be way too young.
But I do know he did interview a lot of the cast.
Yeah.
Very recently.
That's what it was. He was just
I saw especially the Benjamin Pratt piece because they were celebrating the fact that there's another Latino in the Star Wars universe.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't. Trying to think of the other actor's name. He's in the Motorcycle Diaries with Diego Luna. It's his best friend. I think his last name's Bernal. He played in the that Marvel Werewolf by Night. Do you know what I'm talking about? He was the werewolf in that Marvel Werewolf by Night. But he's Diego Luna. I am so surprised he wasn't in Star Wars, you know, in this miniseries.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
It's a shame. He's a really great actor
though?
and real best friends. Like I think they've been like childhood buddies because their parents grew up in the theater working in the community theater together. But I'd love to see him in Star Wars. He's awesome.
Yeah, the massacre was kind of crazy though. I wasn't expecting that to be so, you know, deep, but it was.
I didn't think K2SO would have been part of it either.
Yeah, but Chris was kind of asking me about that last episode. He's like, oh, do you think we're going to see him? Like, when do you think they're going to bring him in? I was like, I have no idea. But then, you know, I think it kind of worked out, you know, I liked how they brought that in, you know.
Yeah. They kind of tagged Bix out and tagged K2 in.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder, like, you know, is that just the end of Bix's story or... Like, are we going to see her back in these last 3 episodes, you know, like a year later kind of thing? But honestly, I think that might be it. Like, that was her goodbye. And, you know, he kind of, you know, either moves on or she dies somehow and he finds out. But I don't know. I was definitely upset about that. I was like, oh, like I wanted to see her in the last 3 episodes. But
it was sad. He was sprinting through that camp to get back to the transport.
What happened to B2? We didn't see him.
He's going to remain on that planet. I think that we left
on
him
that planet that they left.
Yeah. In the second week.
Did he not get on the ship? I thought he got on the ship with them.
No. No, because remember,
Really,
Cassian landed the tie, and he just grabbed. He knew Brasso was already gone. He just grabbed
Bix and the other guy.
Willem and
and
Bix
Bix.
and got the skedaddling. Yeah.
Yeah.
B2 Emo is a farmer now.
That's
I honestly
crops.
thought we'd get him back, and that was going to be K2SO. But Chris, one thing I want to let you know is, remember you had posed that question when Cyril walked into that room and the droids are all sitting there looking, and the one droid turns and looks at him. That is Alan Tudyk K2SO. I was like, oh. So
Yeah,
That much.
he kind of had something off about him even from day one. Like maybe he was just a little more aggressive, and then we switched him, or maybe he was just a little more, observant, or just not like the rest. And maybe it was easier for them to, switch out his programming. But I thought that was interesting that was Tudyk kind of giving them that stare.
I kind of figured that was him because you have to have a way to kind of distinguish, like make him stand out from the crowd a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's probably K2, acting a little different than the rest, clearly. So
yeah, I was curious and I wanted it to be, but I wasn't 100%. And so I know Chris had mentioned that, and I'm like, I don't know, but it was. So that's cool. That's a neat little thing.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think Luthen? How do you think we'll lose Luthen tonight?
I think he's gonna die on Coruscant.
Do you think they'll get him in his gallery, like his showroom kind of place, or do you think he'll be? Because I think that'd be too easy. I think he's going to be out somewhere and he's going to get like caught, and they're going to make an example of him. But I have a feeling that like somebody big knows him, like the Emperor or somebody knows him, and that's. I still want to see it.
I still want to see the Emperor show up.
I think he might, because he's the one character we've heard name dropped every episode. So if he makes a smallest little cameo, because that's all he needs, that would be fitting. That would be fitting, because we got that small cameo of Vader in Rogue One, so you don't really need that here, because we know we're getting
Vader wouldn't make sense.
No, Palpatine makes sense, and they do repeatedly keep saying the Emperor, the Emperor, the Emperor. I'm like, all right, well, just bring him out already. Like it's
right.
It's time.
I gotta say, like you guys were right about what was it? I just had a thought and I lost it.
The Dedra on the collar.
I literally
force choke.
Yeah. The Vader. Yeah, she was like freaking out.
It was a clear panic attack. So I was like, yes, on that one, because I thought that was gonna. When I saw the trailer, I felt that was a little misdirect, and I felt that we were going to see some kind of aftermath of her meltdown after something big like Gorman happened, and that's exactly what that was. So that was really good, and it was pretty epic because it happened after we all learned that Cyril got taken out. So obviously she learned that, and we didn't have to say it, but we as an audience kind of felt like, oh my God, she knows what's happened to Gorman. She feels responsible. Now she's probably learned what happened to Cyril because she knew he was among them. And obviously they're pretty much all wiped out. There probably wasn't much to go through when the droids were searching that square. So that's pretty sad. And she did an excellent job with that scene. I mean, imagine no words being said, but you've got to portray like the angst of that and the loss and the stress and how could you have done this? And wow, the writing in this has been excellent. It's been so well done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they maybe like told her that Cyril was dead, because I feel like you'd have to go through like all the bodies and stuff and find him. But I think she kind of just had that instinct, like I think he's gone, and I think that all kind of just got to her, like based off how they left their last interaction, then knowing that there was just that mass murder and that he was most likely a part of it. I don't know that they were like, oh yeah, we found his body, he's dead. I think she kind of just had that intuition that like her significant other was.
If he went out there, probably didn't end so well.
Yeah.
Man, now, do you think Dedra survives?
What's that?
Do you think Dedra survives?
Maybe. Maybe she
Like,
gets assigned to the Death Star for all we know. Which
just because we don't see her, like, it doesn't mean she's not out there somewhere.
I mean, I'm
no,
sure she's out there somewhere, but honestly, I don't know that it'll make a difference if she's alive or dead. But I don't know. I'm
I
sure
could
she's
see
out
her
there.
getting promoted and being put on the Death Star, and how ironic would that be? Right, because she's obviously going to lose her life too with the Death Star. So, wow,
Yeah.
that could be pretty epic. I think if they kind of had something like that.
Full
Or she
circle.
gets reassigned to Scarif.
Maybe because Krennic's there, and Krennic seems to have an appreciation for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he likes her evil ways and very, I don't. She obviously had the long plan from day one with just let the rebel insurgency do their thing, and it'll work itself out. So.
I mean, she's very methodical, and I don't see like a point in them killing her off, kind of thing. Like, I think she is a benefit to the Empire, but I just don't know, like, what they could do with her character going forward. Like, honestly, I feel like she kind of played her part so far, and I don't know what to really expect going forward. At least for these last 3 episodes, like, I don't know what kind of a part she'll play in it. But I do think more Tarkin and like oh my gosh, who's the main guy? Krennic. Like, I think we're gonna get more of them in this, and hopefully Palps. Like, I think we're gonna get more of the front runners.
Do you think we'll see Tarkin?
I don't know. I think it could be cool, but I'd rather see Palps.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, even if it's just like a brief, like you see his hood or something, like, you don't even have to show like his face or anything, like just to know he's there kind of cameo. Like, I think, or even if they're just like at the table and you just see like it's rising and then you just see the, him at the head of the table or something, like that could be cool. But I don't know. I don't know really what to expect and how they're going to tie everything together in these last 3 episodes.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting. It's been just crazy. All the little story points and everything we've gotten here to fill in the character. I mean, I would say if you asked anybody, if you thought, well, you're doing a story about Andor, why Andor? But now when you see the full story of Andor leading into Rogue One, you're like, yeah, I can understand. Like, now if you saw Rogue One, like, oh, they did story in there. Yeah, I understand why. Great character, great story. And I think that it's kind of interesting because we had that Force healer touch him, and she kind of felt his presence. And she walked out towards him like she felt him. And then when she touched him, she saw that he's like the messenger, right? He's this heralding messenger, which is it ironic, or is it really kind of like foretelling that he's the guy that gets the message with Jyn Erso to the Rebel Alliance to get the star? And
I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. He is the messenger, and that's exactly what she meant by it. I think it was definitely trying to foreshadow what we already knew. But like, for those that may have not watched Rogue One, they might have been like, oh, he's a messenger. Like, what could that mean? But we already kind of, know the context of what's to come. But I did see someone posted a picture of him, in the shirt that he was wearing when he was watching Bix's message, and then a picture of him while he was on the beach with Jyn. Yeah, and they were like, he's wearing the same shirt, he never took it off. So that kind of makes me think like we're not going to see Bix again. Like that's going to be his way to kind of commemorate her and, allow her to live on with him. But that kind of makes me think we're not going to see Bix, or something happens to her clearly like off screen that's related to him, or maybe not. But I just think that's going to be the end of Bix, unfortunately. R.I.P. a baddie.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think at this point any Rebel stuff from Star Wars Rebels, any cameo? I don't know.
I think Hera could show up. I think Hera would make the most sense out of the Rebels crew.
Because we did hear her called out on the loudspeaker in Rogue One, so that could be cool. General Syndulla, that'd be cool. I don't know. I'm really excited though. Tonight's gonna
the Chopper and the Ghost were in Rogue One.
Yeah,
they were. So, I mean, I'm not expecting any cameos.
No, I'm not either.
They're like welcomed, but I kind of feel like Andor itself is as much of a standalone that it doesn't need to have those cameos and references. Like, well, no, they it has the references clearly because they keep saying certain names and things like that. But I feel like that's kind of good enough. Like, I don't need to know. Like, it's enough to know that they're in the same world and doing the same things and stuff that I don't need to see them. But I don't know. I'm not really expecting. The only one that I'm kind of expecting, but try not to get my hopes up for, is, you know, just to see Palps. But I really think that that's going to be the only one. But I could be wrong.
What about any Rogue One appearances, like Galen Erso or Bodhi?
I don't think we'll see Bodhi, only because he's with her father, you know, and, you know, we only kind of see him kind of as that pilot and in his story. So I don't know if it would make sense to see him any earlier.
Maybe Galen, like, but it would have to be kind of, I think, related to what's going on with like the Empire and stuff like that. Like, maybe he's like, you know, at that meeting where Palps is at or something like that. Like, I don't know. I'm grasping at straws. I don't know what to expect, honestly. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, another 10 minutes.
Yeah, step away for a quick second.
9 minutos. But what were your overall thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you guys. Like, best 3 episodes of the season, for sure.
Yeah,
like each story arc got better and better. Like, the first one was kind of boring with like the wedding and like the slow stuff in the jungles of Yavin 4, but like each story arc got better and better. So
yeah,
I feel like
I agree with that.
Blow everything out of the water.
I mean, even some people that really weren't a fan of like the first or second, you know, set of episodes, like really enjoyed this last one, which was nice to see.
Good prediction, Akbar.
Yeah, but I don't know if they'll throw him in now that we know that he's already going to be making an appearance in Ahsoka season 2. So I don't know.
True.
I don't know. They might be saving him, you know, for an upcoming.
It might be the easy one to bring in because like they got the mask already for season 2 of Ahsoka, so they'll just be like, okay.
Well, it looked like in the pictures it was still in processing, so I feel like if they would have used it, it would have the pictures we would have seen. I mean, maybe they were old pictures. I have no idea, but it kind of just looked like it was like a white Akbar. Like, it didn't have any of the coloring to it. Like, it very much looked like a prototype beginning references of it, at least from the image that I saw. So, I mean, maybe that was just like an old one, but I feel like if they would have used him in these last 3 episodes, it would have been a more finished product that we got a picture of at the panel. But
maybe Akbar would be pretty cool if to get a little quick cameo from him. But I honestly think that the Emperor would probably be the best fitting.
I mean, they keep saying his freaking name, for God's sakes. Yeah. Like, you know, give us something, you know, at least. But they're always talking about the Emperor. I'm like,
and, you know, I could see Ian McDermott doing it. Like, you know, like, oh yeah, that'd be great. I'd like to do that. Rather than have to just do a voice piece or scrap some voice piece from some other, recycle one from another piece and just have someone in the robe. Like you guys are saying, they could easily do that. But like, give us the Emperor. That'd be awesome.
I mean, honestly, I
thought he was gonna show up during Mon Mothma's speech there.
I totally thought he was gonna crash the speech. Like, they were gonna be like, you know, she's out there, everything cuts, and he just like arises from like the middle of the Senate. Like, I thought that would have been freaking crazy, but
shut it. Yeah,
I know. God forbid. But
I thought for sure we would have saw him getting choked out, like the guy who let her escape when they're like, you know, General Ulenik or whoever's on the line. When he's like, I was like, oh, you're toast, dude. You're toast. You better hope it's not Vader on the other line. Hold on, I got that. Exactly. Yeah. I thought we might have saw a force choke with that, but we didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, I think overall the writing was really good. I think the acting was next level. I think the scenes were just very emotional, powerful, very impactful. Like, I think these, you know, as Chris said earlier, I don't know if you were there when he stepped away, but like, I think each of the 3 episodes, it's just getting better and better. So I'm excited to see how they're going to top these final 3 episodes versus last, because that's it. That's all we're gonna get is these 3 episodes, and it leads into Rogue One, and then that's the end of Andor and his story. So I don't know. I am interested to see. I'm gonna try to stay up and watch them, but
I plan to definitely.
Now, what do you think about Leia showing up?
Only because we had that version of her in Rogue One at the very end.
Yeah,
I don't think we need to.
That was how many years ago was that now? 15 years ago almost?
Yeah, maybe. But I'm good with that.
I mean, I think it could make sense, especially if she's as involved as Bail Organa.
She's had a name drop in Ahsoka.
Well, she was in Rebels at this time, helping.
They brought back Luke twice already, using different forms of visual effects to do that. So why couldn't they?
They could.
Back Leia?
They could.
Now, who could play her?
Her daughter.
Yeah, I was going to say probably her daughter, and then they would just have to do some visual effects to kind of change it up a little bit. But I think that makes the most sense. I mean, it is her biological daughter, so
yeah,
she doesn't look exactly like Carrie Fisher. Like they're twins by no means, but I think that'd probably be the easiest is having her, stand in.
Yeah, but they could digitally kind of at least
do
something with her. I would use her, but. I don't know, Krennic. I'm very excited to kind of see what his role plays this week too.
Yeah,
it's 3. But
I feel like they've used
since they recast Bail though, that shows that they can recast legacy characters like Luke and Leia. So how would you feel if they recasted Leia in Andor as well? Just brought in a different actor.
I feel like it needs to be used sparingly. I know that they can do it, but I feel like when it comes to the main characters, the OT characters that have been around for a very long time, it's not like we're introducing a new character that we're just recasting, kind of like Baylan. Leia's been around for years. She's one of the OGs. I think it won't be as palatable to kind of just switch up her character.
No, I get you.
I get they can do it, but I just feel like they need to be very choosy about what they're doing. They can't just go recast every character just because the actor's no longer available. But
yeah, the other reason.
What about Luke Skywalker, Sebastian Stan?
I'd like to see him.
Mark Hamill already gave his blessing.
Well, yeah, because Mark Hamill's I'm done. He wants to be done with Star Wars and the role. I mean, he'll forever be Luke Skywalker, but I think he's to the point in life that he doesn't want to play him anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if they do, I did see the rumors of Sebastian Stan, and they look very similar. When they kind of did the side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, what would we need? What project would you have Sebastian Stan play Luke in?
Do a young Luke building the Jedi Order.
The Dave Filoni Endgame movie, right? He's got to come back and fight Thrawn.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they follow up that Heir to the Empire, to the Empire trilogy. They start intermixing that. Luke plays a very big role in that trilogy, so it would make sense. But at the same time, I feel like there's just so much other content out there that we need to explore.
I want to see the path. I want to see more about the path. We keep getting nods of it. In Kenobi, in Tales of the Underworld, we still got a little bit more of it. We had it in Visions season 2. They keep hinting. If you can kind of give me a really, really cool kind of underground railroad Star Wars style, the path and, the young Jedi and the future children of Force abilities, that would be so cool. And I also like that. Also like to learn that it's not just Jedi. So Force users, we saw the woman in Andor, the healer, right? And we had in the Acolyte, those witches, they weren't Night Sisters, they used a different part of the Force, the thread, or whatever they called it. But if we got introduced to more characters like that going through the path, we'd learn about these other off branches of Force users too, all hiding or being repressed and trying to hide from the Empire. That would be a really great story. I mean, and with Andor, what they've done with building that Gorman, to me, it felt very Parisian. It felt like the French Resistance, very much of that. And we kind of get, if you could do that, you could kind of take that kind of underground system, if you will, spy system networks or whatever. You can now turn that into being used for the path, to help people try and escape. That'd be a really great story. It would allow for us to get someone like Quinlan Voss in live action. In my head, I'm still trying to think, who I came up with would be the dopest? Lenny Kravitz as Quinlan Voss.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think someone asked me that. They were like, "Who would you want to play Quinlan?" And I was like, honestly, I've never thought about it, but Lenny Kravitz.
I've been thinking about it.
Crazy.
Cinna in Hunger Games,
and
I was like, dude, he's a guy. There's a painting in someone's mansion and closet, maybe his own, because that guy gets better with age. Like, he's gorgeous looking as a man, and I think he, just to cast him, even if he got 10 years older, he probably wouldn't look it. He's
honestly,
like the male version of Salma Hayek. He's like the male version of Salma Hayek. They've gotten better with age.
Yeah,
and he can rock the dreads too. I think that's a pretty good.
But he's beefy, right? He's not just kind of skinny. He's beefy. Like, he could really pull off. Because I was thinking the guy that did I think he was in Bridgerton, and he did The One Love with Bob Marley. He really he got really involved with the character for the thing he did for the Bob Marley movie, One Love. I thought maybe him, but I was like, you know what? Bob Marley was skinny, and he looks skinny. Quinlan Voss is bigger. Like, even when in animation we saw him next to Obi-Wan, he just seemed like he could kick some ass. So I think he's got to be a little more broad-shouldered and big. And Lenny Kravitz just has that physique, in my opinion.
And he can act.
He can act. And I think down the heart, if you were to recruit him, right? If you're trying to recruit him to be in it, one, it's like Star Wars. Would you? I was in Hunger Games. But if you said Star Wars and you're going to play this character, that character is cool enough that I think Lenny Kravitz would be like, yeah, I dig that. Like, I dig that character and be behind it. That's why I'd like.
Yeah.
I think you need to write a letter to Dave Filoni and be like, listen, I've done your job for you. Here's who's going to play Quinlan.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get Bryce Dallas Howard, right? Or get her on the phone. She's directing this piece. All right.
Well, and epic. Who was it who asked the voice actors for Assange, who she thought should play the live action version, and she said Angelina Jolie.
Ooh.
Which I think that would be crazy.
Huh. I mean, I could see that, but a bald Angelina, or mostly bald Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Dude,
I didn't think that's pretty.
She's got that. She's got the cheek structure too.
She 100% has, I'm trying to imagine a bald Angelina Jolie, and I think all I see now is Assange.
Yeah.
I mean, she has that demeanor to it. She has the thin face, like the defined facial structures. Like, yeah, I think Nikita Fuderman's also going to one of the cons down here.
Oh, really?
I think. Maybe it was Rebel Scum or something, but if I go, I'm gonna ask her. I'm gonna be like, "Say Angelina Jolie."
Yeah.
Put a word in.
I'm all for it.
Angelina, for it. We need all the baddies in Star Wars.
Lenny Kravitz. We'll get them in the live action.
I mean, that would be a great story. You can incorporate so many things, and you can leave breadcrumbs to those. Quinlan was here. You can connect all those, but you can also leave other ones for other things that can connect later. It would be awesome.
I mean, I just feel like they keep planting the seed and we're not watering it. Like we just keep planting a lot of seeds and it just keeps getting referenced. And I really thought the Tales of the Underworld, we were going to get more. But again, it was just another seed and we need something to water it. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't even care if it's an animation because I've been a huge fan of the animation lately and like the style and the stuff that they're able to do with it.
Agree.
I think live action would be cool because then you can even kind of, try to work in some of the Dark Disciple story, like even further, because they go on some pretty cool missions and stuff. And like, they do a lot of really cool stuff and you kind of see the relationship between them, flourish essentially. And then to what, and we see in Tales of the Underworld, but like, I don't know. I feel like we need more, there's so many projects to do. And that's kind of like what upsets me is we keep rehashing the same stuff with the same characters, but there's so much more to do. There's so many other characters. So many
Underworld, at least, is given like the Tales of whatever we've gotten, the last 3 segment styles. They've been excellent because they do exactly what we're saying. They tell us more of that. But like after seeing the last one, Tale of Underworld, I'm like, you could give us a whole series like on just that or just this. Like you could do one just on Cad Bane. Right? Like,
what do you think of it though? Because Lex and I chatted last week about Tales of the Underworld. What did you think, Patrick?
I thought they were absolutely beautifully done. This one, to take 2 different characters that were baddies, right? One, you see how she's actively redeeming herself because you're wondering later, like, how's that all work? But you're actually seeing it in practice, and you're like, oh, and it works, and you believe it, and you have hope for the character. You obviously she has a longing, and maybe that's part of her redemption. She's never going to get Quinlan. She's never going to get to be, because I think that's what they said, that you can get to live, but you can't have what you most desire, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if she gets to live, she can't have Quinlan, I think. And that's a torture she's got to live with until she dies again. Or is she going to be, or is she immortal now? They didn't say that either. I don't think she is, because she seems like she fights like, her life depends on it. So
I don't think she's immortal. I think it was just kind of the trade-off that you
come back.
You have to give something to come back, but I don't think it was like you give it and then you come back forever. I think, she's not immortal, but I think she just have to like sacrifice her heart's desire to come back.
Yeah, and that was Quinlan. So that's sad. That's sad because she wants to come back, but to come back and you can't be with them. That's torture, right? That's a torture you've put yourself in by doing that. But I also thought the Cad Bane story was fucking epic. It was just so good. It was
chef's kiss.
100% chef's kiss. That was so well done. And as a dad, like, I knew there was something brewing, and she's like, oh, but that, there might not be. Before you got on the ship, I'm like, oh, they're an item, and she's preggo. And so when she got shot, I was like, oh, but then that second arc where you find he married her, raised a kid, she passed. Just awesome. And then, to him look down at his, knowing he's got a son and just leave him. People are like, oh, but maybe Cad, knew that was the best thing for him. I don't think Cad gave, that's my thought was, I don't think Cad Bane gave it much thought. He was just like, I didn't want that life. I chose this life. I'm an outlaw. I'm turning my back on that. Like, I never thought like he was giving the kid a chance to stay with the other woman, or because really he's an orphan. Again, you left your kid like you were left.
Mm-hmm.
Orphan. So we don't know. We're hoping that woman's going to take him in, but he has no mother, and his father is laying there on the ground dead. So, he's an orphan, just like Cad Bane started out. Colby, I guess you can call him. But really cool. I just love the story, and it was just well done. It was the little pieces of like little candy, and oh, wait a second, who's that guy? And we learned that he kind of built his persona off that guy, Lacto or whatever.
Oh, I keep forgetting his name, but I mean, I was speaking with I had this gentleman named John on, and he kind of, last time we spoke, I kind of was like a little bit off put by the Asajj one. I just thought like there should be more, and he was kind of, he kind of changed my perspective a little bit on it. He was like, really, that was her redemption. Like you see a lot of characters, especially Anakin, the main one, like go down the path of the dark side. But you don't really see a lot of characters that come from the dark side back to the light, or their version of it. And I was like, you know what, that's kind of interesting, because Asajj essentially was a monster. She was like a killer assassin. Like she did a lot of damage.
Personal assassin.
And then you kind of see her, I mean, you don't see it through the book, but like you kind of can just feel, she found love with Quinlan. Like they were clearly in love, and you could feel that just from him. But in the book, it's discovered a little bit more. And then you can see her try to take strides, teaching Omega, taking that kid in. Like you really are seeing her, come from the dark back to the light.
Or even trying to get that separatist to like, listen, don't put your granddaughter in danger, because all you've ever known is war. All you ever known is to fight. But what if they don't want to fight and they could talk? Like, you're so used to that. Put that aside. Like, to see Asajj telling, like, come on. That is, as Chris's other shirt says, that's the, what's that thing that's calling the kettle black, kind of, what was that? What's that phrase that you have?
Calling the stifling slimy. The Crocta calling the stifling slimy.
You were
exactly.
close, Patrick.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, that definitely made me feel, because after seeing the first episode of Asajj, like it totally raised the bar for me. And then the last two were kind of like, like I just wanted more. I wanted more of the path. I wanted
the Cad Bane. The Cad Bane episodes were definitely better.
Oh, 100%. But I think, him kind of bringing that up to me, it kind of changed my perspective on it. And I was like, you know what? That's exactly what it was. It was the Asajj redemption story. But by far, Cad Bane, like, wiped the floor with her. Like, that story. His story was insane. And just the progression of it, you're seeing him as a little boy, then kind of like a teenager. And then as an adult, you see, the strife and the struggle that he went through. It explores, like, class and poverty and how he was treated. Like, there was definitely a lot of really big themes, I think, that were, shown in his story. And
big time. Like the moral choices, right?
Yeah.
You want to have a good life again? And they're like, I don't know. I don't think it's too good. And he's like, you're right. It's not. And he turns around. He's like, double, we'll take 50% more.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, yeah. Like Cad saw I think he just wanted to not be poor, and be honest. He just wanted to have stuff.
He wanted to make a life for himself, and he kept saying that, like, we will, or, we're going to. Like, he kept, trying to preface, like, I'm trying to make a life for ourselves, and unfortunately, I just think things didn't happen the way that he wanted them to, and they didn't fall into place how he thought. But, his intention was, like, we are going to have a life together. We are going to, you do this. Like, he just kept, speaking in future tense.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the cookie just didn't crumble his way. And you kind of see that that's what made him into who he is, and why he is such a ruthless bounty hunter. Like,
it's funny how you said the tense that the future tense, because he even said that, hope the revenge is worth it. He goes, it will be. Because in the next episode, he's coming after you. Like,
yeah, or even like
100%.
when his girl gets shot and she's like, we can have a life together, and he's like, we will. No, you have a life together. You have a kid. And I 100%, I think I told Chris this, I totally got Padme Anakin vibes when they were on that ship together, and then he like walks off and, goes down that path, and I'm like, she's fucking pregnant. I know it. Like,
yeah.
Like, you knew. And like, I was like, oh, but totally Padme Anakin vibes off that whole scene. I was like, this is them on Mustafar having their moment, and Anakin and Cad Bane choosing the dark path over, their kids and the loved ones and stuff. Totally mirror images.
Cold. Cad Bane, it made you just, if you never thought the guy was a cold, calculated killer before, this definitely did. Because I think there's episodes when you watched in Clone Wars where you see him with young Boba Fett and stuff. You got more of that mentorship, which fed into what we saw in Book of Boba. But this, seeing him walk away from his own flesh and blood, dude, that's cold. That's some cold stuff. Like
you could tell he knew. Like it registered. Like he looked
right in the eyes.
He was like, oh shit, like that's my kid, and I'm still leaving. Like that's crazy. I'm trying to find the name of that one guy, but I can't find it.
But now, what's still cool is we still don't know why Cad has those, hoses up to him later. So that's something. We can get a story about again, later too. Like I still kind of want to. Well, how do you have those things? What are those for now? You didn't have them. Laszlo. That's it.
But I knew it. I was like, he's gonna be just like Laszlo. I was like, that hat looks familiar. Just like everything about it. Like he kind of picked him and was like, that's gonna be the guy I want to be.
Hold on.
You hear him?
Yeah.
Is that the little ones?
That's my boys. Yep,
Nice.
they're upset that they're not in here with me.
Just let them in the room, Mom.
Let them in.
Yeah, my desk will become like an absolute hazard.
It'll just be like all over you.
Oh yeah, I was telling Chris they'll knock my camera over, they knock my mic over, like all the stuff I've got on my desk, it just ends up on the floor. Like it's a whole thing. It's But then I have like some like lower like minifigs and stuff that I need to move because then they start knocking those off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and I don't know if they know not to eat them, kind of thing. I mean, my older cat, like back home, like she would just knock them off and be like, okay, I'm done. Like I made a mess and I can leave now. Like them, I don't know if they would just knock them off and then leave. Like so I need to make some adjustments to the collection room.
There you go.
To kitty proof, baby proof. So
baby proof friendly.
Got a baby proof.
So before we go, do you guys want to know the titles for tonight?
Yeah, knock it out.
Sure.
What's the run times too?
Episode 10 is 51 minutes. Make It Stop is the title. Episode 11 is 45 minutes. Who Else Knows is the title. And then episode 12, 49 minutes. Jeddah, Kyber, Urso is the title.
Huh. Jeddah, Kyber, or Urso. All one or like commas?
Like commas in between.
So I wonder if we might get Galen.
Maybe go to Edu.
Well, going back to Jeddah, at least.
Yeah, I don't know. Very exciting. I don't know. I'm excited to see what's to come. I don't know what to expect, but I'm excited to sit down and watch them.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
I
can't believe it's
I think with that, that's it for this episode. Patrick, where can people find you when you're not on your talking Star Wars?
Here chatting and talking Star Wars with the likes of you and Lex. I'm on my own channel, Poptography or Poptography YT on any of the social media outlets. Got some cool images coming up. Doing the, we continue to do the Star Wars Saturday collab, which we've been having a lot of fun. So if you're in Instagram, check that out. The photographers are just a great bunch of folks, and it's a lot of fun. We did a mix-up this week, or mashup, and I had done a Darth Jar Jar, so it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. But anyway, where can people find the likes of you, Lex, when you're not on here with me and Chris?
Well, when I'm not here with you and Chris, I'm on my own channel, which is Jedi Lex. I am finally pushing out the rest of my Star Wars Celebration content. I finished day 1, so I'm going to post that tonight. Got a new episode of Beyond Tatooine dropping with a new special guest named John. He's a big Lego guy, so that'll be coming out Thursday. But just going to try to finish getting all my content out before I go back to work. But that's what you guys can expect from me. But Chris, when you're not here with me and Patrick every Tuesday night, where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not on here with you and Patrick every Tuesday talking Star Wars, I'm on my own channel, Seriously Star Wars. Usually doing weekly Star Wars reviews, but I've been a little bit lazy as of late. Resting the voice, trying to anyways. But I'll be getting back to that. And you can find me on Instagram as well, Seriously SW on Instagram, and follow me over there. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see everyone next episode.
Bye guys.
Later.
Poses will give the Jedi his power.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
This is where the fun begins.
This is the way.
This is the way.